65 wins, 135 points, a plus 128 goal differential, 5 win streaks of 7 games or more, a 60-plus goal scorer, and a Vezina winning goalie who posted an absurd record of 46-1. The 2022-2023 Boston Bruins certainly became a historic team after their domination of a season. However, in the Stanley Cup playoffs, when it mattered most against the Florida Panthers, nothing but darkness. Okay, that might have been a bit too dramatic, but you get my point. Sadness and disbelief. This Marchand expression should do the trick. Now, getting back on track here. Coming into this year's NHL offseason after the Bruins' historic season and then mind-boggling choke, there's been quite a lot of eyes on the Boston Bruins and how they were going to approach this offseason. And for good reason, considering the limited cap space they have and all the question marks surrounding the team. Now, before I dive into the Bruins offseason thus far, FNF has a couple of quick announcements with regards to the channel that you guys need to be aware of. Number 1, we will be doing a Chell 23 live stream Friday night at around 8 p.m. for you guys. We kind of just wanted to shake things up and try some new ways to interact with you, the viewers. So if that's something you'd be interested in, make sure to tune into the live stream Friday night at 8. Secondly, we will be uploading another podcast episode this Saturday, so don't forget to check that out when it comes out. But that's all I have for you guys regarding the channel, so let's hop right back into the video. Yesterday, June 25th, the NHL's best defensive forward and possibly one of the greatest Boston Bruins to ever play the game, Patrice Bergeron, announced his retirement from hockey at the age of 38. As sad as Bruins fans are, I think it's fair to say that it's kind of what almost everybody saw coming. And not only is this a huge blow for the Bruins on the ice with his impact play, but it'll probably sting more in the leadership and off-ice department, as Patrice Bergeron has been deemed by every one of his peers to be one of the best humans you will ever meet. Bergeron's departure from the roster amplifies the crucial losses the Bruins have dealt with this summer, as their limited cap space hasn't really given them the ability to retain a lot of their key players. The first major move that cost the Bruins heavily was a trade with the Chicago Blackhawks, which saw the Bruins trade veteran forwards Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno to the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for Alex Regula and Ian Mitchell. So basically, they traded Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno for sock tape and a bag of pucks. No offense to Alex Regula and Ian Mitchell. Although the trade value-wise is absolutely terrible for the Bruins, at the end of the day, you kind of just have to acknowledge the trade for what it is, a cap dump, so that the Bruins would be able to hopefully retain some key players. One such as Tyler Bertuzzi, who seemed to exemplify the perfect Boston Bruin, skilled but gritty. Unfortunately, even after trading away all that cap, Bertuzzi not only failed to re-up with the Bruins, but also signed with their bitter rivals, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And on top of that, the Bruins also lost Dmitry Orlov, Garnet Hathaway, and Connor Clifton all through free agency. And even though Bertuzzi, Orlov, and Hathaway did not join the team until later on near the trade deadline, these are all key players that contributed to the team, so it's definitely going to leave a lot of holes in their lineup. But now that we have gone over the Bruins' offseason subtractions, let's go over their offseason additions. The Bruins' first order of business in free agency was signing former Bruins legend Milan Lucic. Lucic is not even close to the player he once was, but he can still be somewhat effective in a fourth-line role and is also a good locker room guy for the team chemistry. The Bruins also added James Van Riemsdyk on a one-year, $1 million contract. Honestly, out of all the additions, I actually like this ad the most for the Bruins just because it's for cheap, and JVR has shown that he still has some goal scoring left in the tank, although his speed has heavily declined. The Bruins also made a flurry of depth signings with Morgan Geekie, a guy who you can pencil in on your fourth line, Kevin Shattenkirk, who I kind of just see as a Connor Clifton replacement on that third pair, and Jesper Bokvist, who's just another decent depth guy. The Bruins also have some question marks with David Krejci, as both him and Bergeron seem to be leaning towards retirement, and now that Bergeron has retired, it seems as though Krejci's most likely path would be retiring too, but that's just speculation. But if that were the case, the Bruins' top six would look like Marchand, Zacha, Pasternak. A very good first line, but then the second line is James Van Riemsdyk, Charlie Coyle, and Jake DeBrusk, which is pretty rough compared to the other second lines in the NHL. And aside from Krejci's situation, the Bruins also have 2 unsigned RFAs in Jeremy Swayman and Trent Frederick. I'm sure Frederick and the Bruins will figure out a new deal, but who I am personally interested in to see where things go is Jeremy Swayman. I could definitely see a scenario where he just signs the deal with the Bruins and that's that, but multiple sources have confirmed that Swayman's name has been out there and there are a lot of teams interested in his services. So that'll definitely be something to follow in the next couple weeks. Overall, though, when I assess the Bruins offseason, I honestly just see a lot of key players departed and many mid-level players signed to try and replace these key pieces. With the losses of Bergeron, Bertuzzi, Hall, Orlov, Hathaway, and the question marks surrounding Krejci, there is no debate that the Bruins are way less deep of a team. I'm very interested to see what else the Bruins do this offseason, considering the glaring hole the Bruins have at the center ice position if Krejci retires too, as their 2 top centers from last season will not be available. I honestly would not be surprised to hear if the Bruins gauge the market for forwards Mark Scheifele and Elias Lindholm, 2 top-line centers who seem to be disgruntled in their current situation and have been made available by their teams. But yeah, guys, that about wraps up this video on the Boston Bruins offseason. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more F&F content in the future. And until next time, boys, peace out.